Chapter 1. Amir. It was the way he just threw his body away, how he'd carve up his torso and arms with a box cutter, or go days without sleep, replacing whole meals with pills and cigarettes. Everyone knew Tyler was going to die young. Jill. I met him in the hospital, 3rd floor at Sisters of Hope. Mom put me there because she thought I was going to hurt myself. I get it. I don't blame her. A staff woman called me into the morning room. The room was gray and blank, just like the rest of the ward, except a couple of posters. Photos of sunsets or mountain ranges, something like "Every tomorrow is a new today," printed in fancy curling letters. There was a circle of chairs filled by sad-faced, fuck-for-life women and men. Everyone already so much older and doomed than I was, apart from a boy. He was fading pink hair and plump lips and severe green eyes, forearms wrapped in bandages with muddy remnants of old scars crawling above them. The only free chair was between a chronic scratcher and an obese bald man with a Hitler mustache, sedate yellow eyes, and a strand of drool forever hanging off of his bottom lip. A nurse sat directly across from me, muscular and tan, skin around his right eye all black and purple. He looked me up and down, flashed some teeth. "What's good?" No one responded. "Okay, most of you know each other, but we have a couple new faces, so go around and introduce yourself. Tell us a little something, you know the deal." Silence. A fart. The nurse kept staring me down with that fucked up smirk. All right. He let his clipboard fall to the floor. "My name is Todd. I like to work on cars. Duh. The pink-haired boy raised a bandaged hand. "Yes, Tyler. But you really like the girls who come through here, right?" Todd kept smiling, but his face melted a little. "Don't start this again. It's the best thing about this shitty gig, am I right?" All right, Todd got up, walked to the doorway, and waved his hand through the threshold. "Hey." The boy was looking at me now, eyes wet and shaking. "You can't sleep here." "What?" I said. "Don't go to sleep." I looked away. 2 stocky nurses pushed through the doorway. Todd pointed at the boy, and they pulled a slight frame from the chair and out of the room. He didn't put up a fight. Todd returned to his seat, picked the clipboard off the floor, and crossed his legs. "Let's try that again." Lou. I remember the box cutter he played with, bright orange with black tape around the grip. Watching him in the lunchroom slicing off dead skin from around his fingernails flipped my insides brackish and blue. I only knew him because of her. Amir. When we were little, he told me about the Mica Witch. Said she lived by the old mica mines up the hills past Islands. When we were 11, we rallied the courage to hike up there and check it out. The trees formed a tunnel with patches of sun breaking through and lighting up the iridescent flakes on the grass and weeds. "Up there," he whispered. He pointed to an old rundown cabin. The window's broken front door knocked off its hinges, and black burn marks streaked across its side. Tyler said that it wasn't the Mica Witch's real home, but a place she trapped folks to eat and make tools out of. He called it her trap house. He said her real home was up further. The ground changed from grass and soil to brown rock, opening into a mammoth hole. The cave's walls glistened with dull light. Tyler grabbed my arm and began pulling me inside. "Let's go." "I can't," I whined. "Don't be a rag, let's go see her." I pulled away and locked my arms around my stomach and shook my head. Whatever. He stepped through the cave's mouth and into the abyss. I started to cry. Probably wasn't even 5 minutes. Noise echoed out from deep within the cave. Stones clattering, nasal grunts, heavy breathing, and then Tyler ran out from the dark. Go. We ran until we could see houses again. He told me he saw her, perched over a lantern in an array of shimmering stones, humming to herself, her hands wet with red, dancing in the deep orange light, the way he described her. I could see her in my mind. Weeks later, I was still seeing her in my dreams. It wasn't until I broke down in class, weeping crazy after 5 days of no sleep, that he finally admitted he made the whole thing up. Jill. I kept myself awake all night. The raw bed springs and reek of bleach made it easy. The sun edged over the horizon, dyeing the whole sky blood and milk, and I almost felt safe. At 8 a.m., a round nurse peeked through the doorframe and said it was time for morning group. A young woman named Kim sat in Todd's place. She told the group that Todd was out sick. Her voice was like a baby's. I sat down next to Tyler. He wouldn't look at me. Kim led an exercise about positive and negative methods of coping. She went around the circle, asking each of us to share one way we cope with our illness. Then she'd repeat what we had said back to us and ask whether we thought it was a positive or a negative way to cope. I cut, I said. I cut. Yes, okay, now do you think it's negative? Yes, okay. We appreciate your honesty. Her eyes turned to Tyler. When it gets bad, I try to go someplace else, he said. And do you think going someplace else is a positive or negative method of coping? He smiled weird. Depends where I go. Once everyone had shared, Kim recited some lines about the personal responsibility of recovery and dismissed us. Some shuffled back to their rooms or moved the chairs to the tables so they could play cards. The fat bald Hitler turned on the TV. The Price is Right. A finger tapped my shoulder. Hey, I turned. Tyler gnawed on his bottom lip, his eyes shy, even as they probed my face. Hey, I said, some shake and crack to my voice. What are you in for? Just some stupid shit. He laughed a little and gave me a beautiful smile. Yeah, it's all stupid shit. Right. Maybe. I've seen you in school. Me too. I lied. We sat down at the table and talked about bands and shows and video games, books. He even made me laugh a couple times. He was nice. I liked him. And then he stopped. His face went static. He looked away from me. Hey, I whispered. I thought I'd upset him, even though we've only just been talking about Pokemon. What? He rubbed at his eyes. You okay? Yeah, just trying to remember something. Yeah? Or something I'm still seeing. His pupils were enormous, twin black holes. His plump lips curled into a rigid smile. Nah, it's fine, it's just stupid. Amir. He was the first guy who ever got me high. He asked me, "Want to feel something amazing?" I nodded. He put his hands around my neck. I started to scream, and the world swam when he let go. It's like seeing it for the first time, like a baby. And when the world turned normal, I asked him to do it again. He taught me about whippets and showed me the difference between inhaling cigarettes and weed. We made a bowl out of tinfoil and John Cena candy dispenser. He stole pills from his mom, and we'd lie in the grass talking about what we were going to do when we grew up. In some ways, I owe him for everything. Lou. I dreamt about him, that he was standing over my bed, that I was following him through an immense black woods, floating in a black void sea. In a round, gray room, walls gently expanding and contracting, shallow breaths, a rotted hole in the floorboards opening to a stagnant obsidian pool. He knelt at its lip, reaching hands deep into the water. The water reached back. It stretched upward into a small whirling torrent, up into his mouth and down his throat, until it was all the way inside him. Then he turned to me, found my eyes, and smiled wide. Jill. Me and Tyler linked up again the next day. He said he'd had a dream about me. I think it was supposed to be a long time from now. I don't know, but you were walking in the woods. You were calling my name and looked like you'd been crying. But it felt good to know you were looking at me. I didn't know what to say, so I didn't say anything. Sorry. No, don't be. I leaned in and kissed his cheek. He tasted like salt and vegetable oil. I love it. Amir. This is the real shit right here. He held out a silver packet with WHORL printed on a sticker across the side. He said he'd gotten it from the downtown Getty Mart. Totally legal. The packet was filled with dry, grayish-purple leaves that smelled like burned bodies. We walked deep into the marsh behind my mom's duplex. The summer before, we nicknamed it Blood Swamp. He handed me his glass bowl, overflowing with purpley gray leaves. He said it was going to change my life forever. I lit the bowl and took one long hit. I tried to hold it in but couldn't, rasping and hacking showers of gray phlegm. I opened my eyes and Tyler's face had changed. Hundreds of tiny black strings crawled from his nostrils and tear ducts. I looked up through the branches to the sky. I thought they were birds at first, but there were millions more of thin black strands stretching down through the atmosphere, grasping trees and wrapping around trunks. A gust ripped through the swamp and 1,000 leaves tore free, raining down all over us. I tumbled backward onto my ass and back. The leaves grew into tarps with arms and legs and faces I may have recognized. They covered my eyes and everything was all muddy, flapping wings and whispers that didn't make sense, and my body stripped into tinier and tinier strands. Then it all fell away. And I was just there, back in the marsh with Tyler. He puffed along on the bowl, his face flat, smeared disc. This is what it really looks like. He stood over me with a wide grin and big black eyes, reaching hand down, pulling me back to my feet. I checked my phone to see what time it was, and the screen was covered in fresh cracks. Jill. Dr. Clark did my outtake at the end of the week and scheduled me to leave with a script for Ativan. I'm going to miss you. Tyler's eyes were small and slick. I took his arm and led him down the hall to the front desk. I scribbled my number on one of his bandages. Call me when you're out, I said. Okay. Promise? I promise. We kissed. A dark heat pulsed through his tattered, crusted lips, through his chest and ruined arms, engulfing my skin. A foreign landscape I was now a part of. A nurse came and escorted me out. Mom and Dad met me down in the lobby. He called me that Tuesday afternoon, and that was that. Lou. People say there's no more history left to make. They say we have no more mythology. So let's tell a story. Let's say that there was once a town, this town, home to women and men and minor gods and warlocks. I loved one of them, and I won't tell you his name yet. Amir. The myth is that I honored him, that I summoned strength and dragged him through the woods and buried him in the river like he'd asked. The myth is clean and sensical, because it needs to be. The truth is stupid. The truth never makes sense unless you force it to, just like anything.